What up, how are we all doing? It's your boy, Cobi's Creation. I hope that you're all well. It's finally British summertime, so you can absorb them good sunbeams. However, if you're a hermit like me and looking to avoid the outside sensation at all costs, I know the perfect garment for you, baby. We out here looking like a bionicle, suited and booted. Today, we're going to be exploring the fashion designer Dingyun Zhang, who in recent years has exploded in the limelight. I wanted to share his design ethos and explore the ideology behind his often gargantuan garments, as I feel like a lot of people are exposed to his work but don't know much about it. And I'd like to try and help people understand his approach to fashion. Perhaps this will lend you to have a greater appreciation for his work, or perhaps the opposite. Either way, it should make for a good discussion. Quick disclaimer, you already know the drill. I'm not claiming to be a fashion expert, so don't take what I say as gospel, but I do my best. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and show your boy some love. I'll be trying to bring some more fashion content to you all. Let's go! Born in Neimongo, Beijing, Dingyun Zhang is a 25-year-old Chinese fashion designer that has racked up an impressive following in recent years, with the likes of A$AP Nast, The Best Dressed, no debate, Jerry Lorenzo, Daniel Arsham, Buddy Osiris, and Lily May. With his work having already done the rounds within the fashion industry, many are already labelling a designer as the next big thing. Yet all of this has been achieved whilst never having sold a single product. So that begs the question, how? As we can all recognise that this level of praise is definitely an anomaly. Well, Dingyun Zhang studied at the renowned university known as Central St Martin's in London, England, and progressed through the university's academia in the most idealistic way possible. First completing a foundation diploma in art and design, followed by a bachelor's in fashion design, only to be topped with a master's in menswear. And whilst that is impressive in itself, it was during the second year of his BA program that he would be appointed to meet with Kanye West, which ultimately led him to work under Kanye West's brand Yeezy. So it's safe to say that Dingyun Zhang is a designer backed with impressive accolades and industry experience. Despite his impressive purview though, Dingyun Zhang does accredit social media as one of the fundamental drivers of his success, as he states that social media has helped so much because right now the promotion is free. It's fast, and big accounts reposting your stuff let the whole world see your product. And in my opinion, this is really cool because it shows that regardless of your academic background, the amalgamation of curation-orientated social media accounts has really allowed social media, specifically Instagram, to become a platform for emerging talent. It allows us to see that this level of exposure really is possible for anyone, even those who didn't follow the academic conventions to gain experience within a creative space. So if any aspiring creators are watching, just post up your work, tag the right accounts, and be proactive, my friends, because it goes a long way. Anyway, it is through these curation accounts that many of us have been exposed to Dingyun Zhang's work. And even if you don't recognize his name, the exaggerated and ethereal clothes stemming from his autumn-winter 2020 MA collection can be seen all over Instagram, and you may have already seen them. My personal favourite is the mushroom, although that isn't actually from his collection, but that is a stunning piece of work. Stunning. However, the reason why I'm making this video is because while it may be the use of technical fabrics incorporated into these gargantuan silhouettes that draws us in, many don't realise that Dingyun Zhang's practice is highly utility orientated. And ironically, I believe that his garments may appear the opposite when taken at surface value. So what is Dingyun Zhang's story, and what is he trying to achieve in the fashion industry? Well, let's find out. Although we recognise Dingyun Zhang as a fashion designer today, Dingyun Zhang wasn't always interested in fashion, as it was at the age of 10 Dingyun Zhang's initial interest of fashion would begin its fruition through footwear, a response that he attributes to his hometown's love for the sport basketball. It is during this time Dingyun Zhang can recall the sport of basketball being incredibly popular, as he states that if you wanted to be cool, you played basketball. I must say, being cool Kobe and not playing basketball, I definitely wouldn't be the cool one. Anyway, with basketball having a desirable culture in Beijing, it was a sport that Dingyun Zhang was exposed to daily, as he would walk to school passing by Beijing's flagship Nike store displaying NBA superstars such as Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan,
LeBron James,
alongside their respective sneakers. This daily touchpoint provided Dingyun Zhang with a window into luxury basketball sneakers, as the store displayed the most desirable pairs in glass display units. Through this window into sneaker culture, young Dingyun Zhang was allured by the sneakers' construction. However, this allurement was constrained by his inability to obtain the sneakers, as not only did his parents refuse to buy him a pair at the time, he simply couldn't fit into the adult pairs that he desired, as he explains that, "I wanted the real ones, not the simplified kid versions. They felt fake because all of those crazy details and fabrics were gone, since shoes for adults are built differently." So with that, Dingyun Zhang began seeking other outlets that would allow him to learn about the sneakers he desired. This led him to begin studying the sneakers, taking photos of them, with a focus for detail. This then progressed onto him saving up to purchase issues of the Chinese footwear magazine Size in order to visualize the shoes through various mediums. As he explains that, "On the empty edges of my English and maths books, I would re-sketch sneakers. I would also make these Pokemon-esque cards that had different strengths and abilities of each sneaker and sell them to friends." I must say that I truly do appreciate the hustle. Like, this is a winner's approach. Hustle from a young age, baby. As Dingyun Zhang grew older, he had now developed an appreciation for the arts, as it was at age 16, inspired by painters Robert Rauschenberg and David Hockney, that he would begin to study the arts, making the move to Somerset, England in order to study fine art. It's here that Dingyun Zhang would begin to craft his design-based approach, as he began to experiment with magazines and photography, cutting originals to create distorted pictures and produce new imagery. This multimedia collage-based process is one that, to this day, has replaced his use of traditional fashion drawings as a starting point for his work. However, as Dingyun Zhang was now immersed within the creative realm, it is here that his love for fashion design would supersede fine art, as he recalls his mother's appreciation for fashion design and the University Central St. Martin's, as his mother would browse prior fashion collections from the University Central St. Martin's. This brought Central St. Martin's to the forefront of Dingyun Zhang's interest, and it wasn't long before he became captivated by the university's renowned ability to mould great fashion designers, with the likes of Lee Alexander McQueen, Craig Green, and Stella McCartney. As a result, Dingyun Zhang began his enrollment into Central St. Martin's, first beginning with the Art and Design Foundation, only to then progress onto the competitive BA in Fashion Design and later the MA in Menswear, as I previously mentioned. As Dingyun Zhang progressed onto the BA in Fashion Design, it was here that he would become interested in exploring the contrast between luxury and necessity, as he began to study the book of photographs titled Farm by Jackie Nickerson, which presents portraiture of workers in their rural towns throughout the day-to-day, highlighting them at their workplace of corporate plantations in Malawi, Mozambique, South Africa, and Zimbabwe. This book served as a catalyst, provoking Dingyun Zhang to explore the difference between clothing selected purely for aesthetic purposes to clothing that is worn out of necessity. Dingyun Zhang found that, especially in countries with a high poverty rate, dress choices are mostly based on utility, as their attitude towards dress is often informed by the needs of their occupation and their environment whilst working. As this book depicted the individuals of modern Africa in a true-to-life manner, the clothes featured within this book were a facet that Dingyun Zhang really began to appreciate, as he noticed that the people of modern Africa are less concerned with what their clothes say about them as people, and more about how they function. With this found interest for function, Dingyun Zhang began to formulate ideas for his BA collection by studying material, colour, and layers, which allowed Dingyun Zhang to begin to manifest ideas that place design alongside underrepresented cultures concurrently, with the intention of generating garments that can be worn without any rules. And whilst Dingyun Zhang was developing this ethos for his BA collection, outside of his research, the two contrasting worlds of streetwear and luxury were beginning to collide, an event which Dingyun Zhang saw as an opportunity to further explore his developing interest in functional design, leading Dingyun Zhang to purchase various works from the brands Stone Island and CP Company, two respective brands that have always lived in no man's land between streetwear and luxury, as he would attempt to work with it and elevate it despite those brands falling into streetwear, a subculture that was being stigmatized as a trend of poor taste amongst his peers. This developing appreciation for functional uniform would serve as one of the fundamental drivers of Dingyun Zhang's BA collection, as he found that focusing on function allowed for a more aesthetically pleasing, interesting, and dimensional approach to dress. However, despite his design ethos already beginning to solidify itself, it is here that Dingyun Zhang would receive a breakthrough opportunity at the end of his second year on his BA, as one of Dingyun Zhang's tutors recognized the potential of his design thinking and decided to put him in contact with Kanye West. You know, just a casual dude. As a result, at the end of his academic year, Dingyun Zhang flew to Calabasas, only then to be hired on the spot by Kanye West's Yeezy, securing a working relationship with Kanye West. It was evident that Kanye West enjoyed Dingyun Zhang's eye for utility-orientated design and could recognize that it would seamlessly integrate within the Yeezy brand. This working relationship resulted in Dingyun Zhang aiding in the creation of both apparel and footwear for the Yeezy brand. And there's a good chance that you've already seen some of his works, working on articles such as the Autumn-Winter 2018 Yeezy Snow Boot, as well as particular Yeezy Season 4 bomber jackets. During this phase of his placement, Dingyun Zhang stated that he helped to give the garments the right colour, as well as apply his collage-based design approach to generate technical drawings for the brand. After a number of months, Dingyun Zhang had another meeting with Kanye West, who reviewed his portfolio and was again drawn to his unique collage-based pre-designed process. From this moment, Dingyun Zhang began to design directly what Kanye West wanted alongside Stephen Smith, the design director at Yeezy, as Dingyun Zhang had now earned Kanye West's trust. Kanye West's appreciation for Dingyun Zhang's taste granted him the ability to work with footwear factories and apparel ateliers in LA, which helped him to understand how to produce a real shoe from scratch. This phase of the work placement led to the creation of popular works throughout the Yeezy brand, such as the Yeezy 700 Wave Runner series, also on some unreleased footwear models for Yeezy, such as the Foam Runner High Top, as showcased by Kanye West on Twitter. And whilst many would have felt the pressures of this experience, especially as an undergraduate at the time, Dingyun Zhang found designing with Kanye West to be a free and limitless experience, as he didn't feel any pressure to design in a way that wasn't true to himself, as he explains that, "He gave me the liberty and responsibility to express myself, and working with him was a great experience that taught me a lot," which I think is an attribute that we can all respect about Kanye West in this context, as once he trusted Dingyun Zhang, he let him innovate. He didn't try and constrain his creative thinking, which is probably why we got some really intriguing products from the brand, especially in footwear. With the placement at Yeezy being a success, Dingyun Zhang returned back to the university, Central St. Martin's, in order to complete his final year on the BA and begin realizing his BA collection, of which would continue to build upon his interest for utility, stemming from his inspirations of rural African workwear. Despite learning a lot in the last few years, Dingyun Zhang still aimed to use this collection as a means to expand upon his practical skill sets, as he dyed all the fabric bases himself and hand painted the camouflage prints to achieve a faded and distressed look. He also began to explore hand embroidery, as we can see, with the inspiration coming from Japanese boro, a process which ended up informing his decision to work with camouflage as his primary print design. Analysing the prints, Dingyun Zhang states that he wanted the prints featured on the clothes to be more dimensional, allowing them to better align with his ethos. It may be difficult to tell from these photos, but if you look closely you can see the layers. Thus, this resulted in the prints differing from the usual two-dimensional flat print to becoming more three-dimensional and rich in texture. This is also why the prints for the collection feature wool felting on top of the paint in order to really push the concept of layering, which again returns to his appreciation for utility. Designing the silhouettes within this collection was an aspect that Dingyun Zhang was not intimidated by, as working with shapes and tailoring was something that was familiar to Dingyun Zhang, and it definitely shows, as the garments confidently present themselves, being oversized and elongated. It is clear that his confidence for working with shape has led to looks that are well proportioned and complement each other well, despite being excessively layered. Good job, Dingyun. And whilst Dingyun Zhang wasn't intimidated by the shaping and tailoring of the clothes, he admits that he found creating the textiles, working with dyes, embroidery, and prints to be intimidating, as these were all new processes to him at the time. In particular, he noted that he would struggle to maintain the desired finish on the prints, as washing the fabric would cause the colour to come off, leading him to have to repaint the garments over and over, a process which involved a lot of layering, ironically. Overall, given his inspirations and industry experience at the time, I think this collection is great. It feels so holistic for Dingyun Zhang at the time, with his appreciation for rural workers of modern Africa coming through via the soil-like colour palette and utility-based shapes and styling, in addition to his meticulous material studies stemming from Stone Island and CP Company being translated well, especially on particular garments such as the parkas and the overcoats. And of course, having worked with Kanye West, we can all see the Yeezy influence in there too. And as we can recognise Dingyun Zhang's process to be so utility orientated, it becomes evident just how wearable the collection is. It really seems military-esque, designed with the intention to protect and serve the wearer within their place of work. And you can really see why Kanye West saw Dingyun Zhang as a good fit for his brand. As Dingyun Zhang moves on from his BA, we can now begin to turn our focus towards the MA collection. This collection is where many of us were initially exposed to Dingyun Zhang's work, a collection where we would see Dingyun Zhang progress from the military looks that we're now familiar with to something more otherworldly, all whilst keeping true to this functional ethos. With the collection debuting at London's Fashion Week in 2020, Dingyun Zhang was amongst leading industry names such as J.W. Anderson. So this was a big opportunity for Dingyun Zhang and his work, figuratively and literally. Being amongst such well-established designers meant that there was a lot of industry names that could have overshadowed Dingyun Zhang and his work. However, the reality couldn't have been more different, as the collection captured the attention of many individuals across the industry. And with Kanye West's support, thanks to Dingyun Zhang's prior working relationship with the individual, the collection even featured footwear that was gifted by Kanye West, resulting in custom Yeezy foam runners bound to catch the industry's attention. See what I did there? Bound to? No? Okay. Anyway, to begin producing the collection, Dingyun Zhang would first solidify his design manifesto, a theoretical bond of sustainable ideas about long-term comfort, materials, and functionality. A manifesto that, in retrospect, was already being executed succinctly through the shapes and material choices of his BA collection. So it's clear that Dingyun Zhang was well in tune with his creative direction and had precision when it came to solidifying his aims. Dingyun Zhang's approach to design and our exposure to the MA collection is actually why I wanted to make this video, as I previously mentioned, because despite the familiarity many of us have with this MA collection's novel aesthetic at surface level, the irony is that Dingyun Zhang's rationale makes his clothes function over form. With the intention to protect and provide comfort, this collection, just like his BA, communicates a distinction between form and function, as Dingyun Zhang would continue in his pursuit to embody his key inspiration of marginalized communities who face harsh economic and environmental conditions, a theme Dingyun Zhang thoroughly enjoys to execute thanks to its direct effect on everyday culture, as well as its ability to shift our attitude towards clothing. I just felt that it was important to communicate to people that Dingyun Zhang's work is very utility based and shouldn't be taken at surface level, despite how novel the aesthetic may seem. His work is about dressing out of necessity rather than luxury, shedding a light on Earth's diverse ecosystems and underrepresented ethnic groups. And as Dingyun Zhang states himself, it's important that we don't forget that style sometimes comes from a necessity for a sustainable way of living. So I just wanted to spread that message. Anyway, back to the collection. In order to expound on his key inspirations, Dingyun Zhang focuses this collection around the theme of extreme sports, as this would allow him to stay true to his functional intentions, yet offer the opportunity to expand on his practical methodologies by exploring new materials and silhouettes. A great choice in theme, in my opinion, as we can all recognise how garments designed for extreme sports are functional at their core. And although the appearance of clothing involved within extreme sports is rather understood to us, Dingyun Zhang was not afraid to elevate it, resulting in exaggerated forms reminiscent of science fiction, birthing this alternative world one that shuns stylistic excess and leaves style to be dictated by the environmental circumstances. Thus, this collection is where we really begin to see Dingyun Zhang's envision of a utopia come to life, as the work hones in on his functional and sustainability ethos, again shunning the idea of luxury and excess. And to be honest, I think this functional attitude to dress is one that is often overlooked within westernized culture, as we often get to dress emotionally, presenting us with the privilege to completely disregard the functionality of our clothing. But I must say, I think that taking a step back on occasion and dressing through a functional lens can generate more organic forms of style, as well as lead to more true-to-life results, which I think is an attribute that Dingyun Zhang himself can appreciate about functional methods of dress. And while we can see his appreciation for comfort, function, and sustainability play out through the shapes and tailoring of this collection, Dingyun Zhang's attention to material choice is again integral and plays a significant role within his collection, as he himself admits that he has a fascination with nylon thanks to its toughness and superior weathering properties. Thus, nylon is often the commanding material throughout his work, as it allows him to create lightweight and protective garments that are comfortable yet functional. The MA collection was undoubtedly a huge success. However, that hasn't stopped Dingyun Zhang from trying to elevate his MA work, as last October, Dingyun Zhang collaborated with the 3D artist and art director Antoni Tedisco in order to bring his clothes to life in the digital space, transporting his MA into a digital world, one that showcases their performance in harsh environmental climates through extreme physical activities. A very smart move given the pandemic. Overall, it's clear that Dingyun Zhang's time at CSM was a huge success, with Central St. Martin's really pushing him to his creative limits. As he explains, "It forced me to think outside the box and find myself without being influenced or copying what already exists, because the tutors will immediately be able to tell." And honestly, I think that Dingyun Zhang did incredibly well at creating clothes that are desirable, fun, and surprisingly practical. And I think that once you're aware of Dingyun Zhang's design process, you can see just how successful his work at Central St. Martin's really was, as it serves to elevate our appreciation for function through the exploration of themes where dressing out of necessity is commonplace. As Dingyun Zhang's time at Central St. Martin's comes to a close, Dingyun Zhang remains dedicated in his pursuit to make the fashion industry more sustainable, as he believes that designers have the most agency when it comes to sustainability, as it is the designer that gets to dictate the choices in materials. Thus, Dingyun Zhang begins to further his exploration into materials by creating alternatives to leather goods, combining various man-made materials to mimic its properties. Furthermore, Dingyun Zhang strives to encourage fashion companies to further implement designers' knowledge of material in order to increase their use of sustainable fabrics as well as boost the longevity of their products. Dingyun Zhang hopes that this would improve supply chains across the fashion industry as well as reduce the industry's ecological impact, and continues to innovate nylons for protection from the elements, feeding into his long-term goal of building a team of designers that can support his ideas of sustainability and long-lasting function. It's clear that Dingyun Zhang wants to be surrounded by a community of like-minded designers to innovate materials and produce products for a more sustainable lifestyle. Despite this though, he states that, "I do it alone, but eventually I'll gather a team." And with his time at Central St. Martin's now dusted, Dingyun Zhang is now steadily growing his brand and continually working to refine his MA collection in order to begin selling pieces, where he intends to donate some of the profits back into the sources of his inspirations, particularly the underrepresented ethnic groups living in harsh environmental and economic conditions. Currently, Dingyun Zhang intends to sell 2 styles of the puffer jacket, the helmet bag, and possibly some trousers at selected retailers, despite having not sold any work yet, a decision which is largely through choice. Although Dingyun Zhang stresses that he will not sell any work until it's perfect, as details like the wash tag will be crucial, as well as finding sustainable solutions like recycled plastic bags for packaging and alternatives to animal products. And although this rigorous care for his craft is time consuming, Dingyun Zhang admits that he has faced difficulties with sourcing and production because of the pandemic, either because suppliers have closed down or suppliers have changed how they do business, and looking at fabric and trimmings through a screen just can't compare to the tactility of seeing them in real life. which I think we can all appreciate. However, Dingyun Zhang continues to do the best that he can and has already began creating hybrid materials, as depicted within certain garments such as the giant backpacks, which feature nylon and scuba diving neoprene bonded together to mimic the properties of real leather. Dingyun Zhang is also entertaining the idea of selling functional forms of his work digitally. However, once again, Dingyun Zhang states that the state of fashion right now, when it comes to young designers, seems more lucrative in terms of exposure and opportunities. Thus, he is trying to go organically and trying to avoid expanding too soon. And yet, despite his success with his MA collection at London's Fashion Week, Dingyun Zhang explains that he is hesitant in continuing to roll out work through the traditional fashion show medium, as he states that the other day I went to an Andy Warhol show at Tate Modern, and Maharishi did a collection at the gift shop, an experience that he enjoyed. As a result, perhaps we may see Dingyun Zhang's work being retailed in a more subtle fashion in the future. At this point, Dingyun Zhang has big garments and bigger dreams. However, he has found himself stuck in limbo thanks to the pandemic, as he had originally intended to move from London to Cobi, Wyoming, where the Yeezy campus is located, in order to continue his work for the Yeezy brand. However, due to US travel restrictions, he has been unable to make the move. Until then, Dingyun Zhang is now creating new footwear models from leftover materials, all whilst attempting to underpin how he'll grow his own brand. And on top of achieving all of this, he still managed to release a footwear collaboration under the Central St. Martin's alias with Birkenstock, embodying this comfort-orientated aesthetic that we're already familiar with from Dingyun Zhang. So with his rich academic experience and working relationship with Kanye West, Dingyun Zhang is shaping up to be a fashion designer that is ahead of his time. And with this deep concern for the fashion industry's long-term humanitarian implications, Dingyun Zhang demonstrates a maturity that sets a promising tone for the fashion industry going forward, one that will serve as a great foundation for many practitioners in the future. So Dingyun Zhang is definitely one to watch. Overall, I think that we can all take something away from Dingyun Zhang's work. It's important that we don't forget that style sometimes comes from the necessity for a sustainable way of living. So with that, what do you think about Dingyun Zhang and his design practice? Has this video made you view his work through a new lens? Or do you still hold the same opinions that you had before? Either way, let me know what you think. Lastly, check out Dingyun Zhang's work on Instagram, link is in the description. Show your boy some love by subscribing and hitting the like button if you learned something new. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Cobi, Cobi's Creation, Shrek as usual. Where is Shrek 5? We don't know. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.